Hello, everyone, and welcome to Down Bad, the self-help podcast where I, Jodi Johnson, talk about everything mental health related, from the challenges that we face to the celebrations that take place. On the show, I use my vulnerability in hopes that the more we as humans talk, share, and work together, the more we make mental health care accessible and acceptable for every single human being out there. This journey is yours and no one else's. Not your mom's, your dad's, your siblings, your significant others, your neighbors, no one's. It's yours every single step of the way. So thanks for being here and staying true to yourself, even in times of uncertainty and discomfort. New episodes release every Thursday. What an amazing duo, coffee and the electrolytes. Now I'm ready to go. Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to talk to you guys about an important evolutionary adaptation that is the reason that humans have been able to survive. That's the stress response, otherwise known as our fight or flight mechanism, which is something that has existed ever since both your and my ancestors were big stepping on this earth back in the day to face danger and challenges in their everyday lives and in their everyday environments. And it's when our body releases these stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol that increase our heart rate, heighten our senses, boost our energy, and reduce the pain that we're experiencing. So whenever danger is present, we really have a number of choices. That's to fight that danger, flee from it, or freeze up. And our body is going to go to one of these things in order to increase our chances of survival. And I want to talk to you guys about this today because I think being able to manage your fight or flight, your stress response is important. And I'm personally connecting with it right now because this past summer, I lost my grandmother to cancer. That was actually 3 months and 3 days ago, which is why it was really hard for me to be able to post an episode this week without being able to properly manage my stress. But anyways, when I lost my grandmother, I remember exactly how this afternoon went. I was eating lunch at Chipotle during my work break with two of my coworkers when I got a call from my little sister that my grandmother was no longer breathing. She was like leaned over the bed. So in that afternoon, fight, flight, or freeze was important because it was going to determine my actions and what I did the remainder of the day. Take flight like nothing was happening. Freeze up because I don't know what to do, or fight through that pain that I'm experiencing. And on that day, I did choose to act. So when I was on the phone with my little sister, I told her to dial 911 and to start CPR, start compressions. And I was calm. I was logical. I was able to manage my stress that day. So when managing your stress response, it's important that you understand what the fight or flight response is to begin with, because there's both psychological and physiological aspects to this response. In the psychological, there's your increased awareness of your surroundings and what is going on around you. You have more focused thinking. You're able to zero in on a target or zero in on a threat. And those emotions that you're experiencing, although they're heavy, like fear, anger, and anxiety, those are going to either send you into a flight, fight, or freeze. You have a snap decision making. It's almost like your body naturally knows what to do when something like that happens. And it kind of does, because if you end up in that same situation again in the future, you might have better memory. In the physiological side, there is, again, the release of stress hormones and other hormones, and your heart is pumping more blood. You're breathing faster. So as a result, your muscles are getting more oxygen, and they're getting ready. They're getting ready right now because they're needed right now during that response. Your senses help you become more alert and aware of what is happening around you, as I have said before. And another important thing to note is that your digestion is going to slow down so that you can utilize that energy to enhance and increase your chances of survival. This is all, if we're talking about history and evolution, This is your response to get your mind and your body ready to deal with danger quickly and efficiently, again, to increase your chances of survival when true danger is present in your life. In the modern world, this response is still very much relevant despite having less physical dangers. We're still threatened by stressors in our work, in our social lives, in personal challenges, and there is, again, still physical dangers that are present. And this response is how we navigate and manage these challenges that we are experiencing. So understanding the physical and emotional indicators of this response is going to be able to help you identify when you're experiencing it, which is in turn going to be able to help you manage it. The physical signs are your increased heart rate, rapid breathing, dilated pupils, sweating, muscle tension, an adrenaline rush, digestive changes, nausea or shaking. And then the emotional signs is that heightened anxiety, irritability, panic or fear, feeling overwhelmed, having an inability to focus, restlessness, social withdrawal. So I really want you guys to be able to identify your own responses to stress. Like, what physical sensations do you notice when you're stressed? Are they any of the above that I just mentioned? And how do you usually emotionally react in difficult situations? Do any of those emotions pop up when you're faced with danger or faced with stress? Because, guys, like, we have common triggers that activate our stress response system. Those triggers could be work-related stress, like your deadlines or the workload that you have, conflicts that you could have with your boss or other employees. If you don't have job security and you fear the risk of being fired, you could also just have important presentations or meetings or conferences or other things that you have to do that's related to work that's causing you stress. There's personal loss, death of someone that you love, divorce or breaking up, losing your job or financial instability, moving away from where you live, what you consider your home or your familiar environment. Health issues like chronic illness and injury, serious medical diagnosis that changed your complete world, or caring for a sick family member that could have received a serious medical diagnosis, and that changes your world. Then there's just the life changes like marriage or starting up a family, transitioning to a new school or a new job. There's retirement. There's social pressure like family responsibilities, peer pressure, and the expectations that society has on you. There's public speaking or just social anxiety in general. There's daily struggles. I live 15 to 25 minutes outside of Philadelphia, so the traffic after the workday ends or even in the evening is insane. There's chores and household responsibilities that you have to have. Unexpected expenses. There's environmental stress that we have, like noise or overcrowding, like things that just make your world way too overstimulated. Extreme weather events, like please pray for Florida and what just happened to them. There's uncertainty and change, like pandemics, this election coming up, which I'm freaking worried about. There's unpredictable life circumstances. And wow, I just went off into a tangent. I just went off into a ramble because I'm realizing that I experience a lot of these, and I know that you guys experience them as well. A number of them, or maybe just a few, but a lot of them are heavy. They're so heavy. And all of these situations that we experience, that we have in common, they all manifest to these physical and emotional symptoms that I mentioned before. But again, I want to remind you guys that there's tools that we can utilize when we experience these triggers. Journaling is one of those tools that helps me track my stress response and how I feel on certain days so I can identify and recognize what triggered me so I don't let it control me. There's mindfulness. Again, something that I talk about in many, many episodes, which helps you get in tune with your mind and your body. So A good episode I have for that is episode 61, Balancing Your Mental Health. I talk a lot about mindfulness in that episode. There's breathing techniques, breathing exercises, like box breathing, or the physiological side that can help you ground yourself and become more mindful. The physiological sigh is something that I do before I record like every single one of these episodes, because it brings me to the present moment. And then I'm just here in this studio, in this office, able to have a genuine conversation with you and not feel like a robot. And then obviously, I'm a clinical mental health counseling graduate student. I studied psych in my bachelor's program. So my education has helped me understand the science behind the stress response. So you yourself may want to even pick up articles, books, or videos that can help you recognize your own stress response. But most importantly, just being able to practice healthy coping mechanisms like everything that I just mentioned before, exercise or socializing or any healthy coping mechanism you can think of is huge. It's huge because they're going to help you be able to manage your stress response. And strategies that you have will help you build resilience to better manage the stress that you're experiencing. Because when you develop this thing called mental resilience, it's how you're able to better cope with stress, adapt in certain situations, solve problems, emotionally regulate, and, persevere. Because what are we here for? And you're doing this all while trying to stay as positive as you can and functioning to the best of your ability. And another tool that's going to help you be resilient in this life is reframing your mindset from panicking and just locking up all the time to actually solving your problem. But what I think that you guys need to know in order to be able to do that is, first, you need to recognize the difference between a gravity problem and an actual problem that you can solve. So gravity problems are something that I learned from a book last year written by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans called Designing Your Life. And I think that they're both professors at Stanford. I may be wrong, but I think that I'm right. And gravity problems they've used this phrase referring to situations that have no solution at all, zero solution. And it's metaphorical because you guys know what gravity is. Gravity weighs us down. So gravity problems are problems that weigh us down. Like when Annie died, and I brought that up at the beginning of the episode because there was okay, I need to save her. Homeboy, you were 45 minutes away. She wasn't breathing. She was found not breathing. I've worked in hospitals, like I've studied medical things the last few years. I know the odds of survival of after you not getting enough oxygen to your brain after a certain amount of time. And 45 minutes, like there's automatically nothing that I can do there except find some sort of acceptance, I guess. Because if I thought that I was going to be able to save her, that weight would have crushed me. Then there's actual problems, which have clear parameters and well-defined goals, possible options that you can use that lead you to a solution, a resolution. And these outcomes can be measured and evaluated. Your progress can be tracked and monitored. So, in other words, your actual problems can be solved, while your gravity problems may just require acceptance. And I want you to think about somebody else really quickly. I want you to think about my man MLK for a second. He faced so many complex, multifaceted gravity problems. He faced many personal losses, career setbacks, and health issues while still being mentally resilient. His freaking friends were assassinated, as he later was. He was arrested and his life was threatened, but he still pushed for social justice and equality for Black people. And from learning more about MLK over the years, what you don't learn in grades K through 12, there was unhealthy coping mechanisms that the man had, but he still pushed for nonviolence, love, and community. So him, to me, he's always going to be a legend. His legacy will be something that I remember my entire life. So being stuck on love and community, I don't know what the heck I would do without community, without my family, my friends, my people. They're the reason that I'm alive. Honest to God, they are the reason I'm alive. I would be nothing without community. The support network that you build up will only help you during challenges that you're experiencing in this life. Whether it's support to help you emotionally regulate, whether it's clarity and a fresh new perspective on something, direction for resources or for further help, or just a place where you can feel like you and have no boundaries. This support network is going to transform your experiences and make them more manageable. And what also is going to help make these experiences more manageable is using steps along the way. Identifying what you need to do. Understanding what your end goal is for whatever task or project or whatever it is that you need to get done. And break that down into further tasks if you must. Prioritize what needs to be completed first. Set deadlines for yourself to give yourself a sense of urgency. Gather any resources or anything else that you need to complete it. Plan out a schedule. Actually start. Just start the freaking thing and focus on that one thing. And don't try to multitask and overwhelm yourself and not start what you need to do. Review and adjust as you tread along, okay? You're not perfect. You don't need to be. You can always review and adjust. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins, damn it. Don't forget to celebrate those small wins. I love celebrating my small wins with a Wawa milkshake. Oh my God, yes, I have to reward myself sometimes. I don't care. I love a milkshake. I earn it. Duh. By doing all of this, I mean, you don't have to get a milkshake, but by following these sort of steps, you can reduce the anxiousness that you're feeling and the overwhelming, anxious fear, all those feelings to make whatever you're doing more manageable for yourself. And of course, while you guys are doing this, I encourage you guys to be kinder to yourselves during difficult times. Like right now, I'm reading a bunch of books in class and it feels, mundane and scary. So I'm reading a book on my free time too, by Tara Brach called Radical Compassion. She's also the author of Radical Acceptance, which is a book that I haven't read yet. But this book, Radical Compassion, focuses a lot on self-compassion by fostering this deep empathy and understanding with yourself so that you can build stronger relationships, increase your emotional resilience, and form a stronger community. And as the author said, we have to love ourselves into healing. It doesn't work the other way around. We can't hate ourselves into healing. Hate doesn't create. And I'm going to say that again. I don't know where I got that from. I just pulled that out of my head. But hate doesn't create. Love does. Love heals. But anyways, guys, that's about it for today. I didn't get to record on Thursday because, I was overwhelmed. I was stressed. But being able to properly manage my stress and navigate the rest of my week, I was able to sit down and record this morning. And honestly, I feel so much better than I did the other day. So I really practiced self-compassion this week and leveled myself emotionally. And that just feels so good, guys. That's a wrap on our episode about the fight or flight, which is something that has been around since the dawn of time to keep us here, to be the reason that we as humans survive. And sometimes this stress response, it's faulty, especially since we don't have to worry about as much physical danger in our daily lives. And I'm not sitting here saying that we don't worry about physical danger, because I do, but not in the way that we would have if, we were running around with a musket, or if I was running around with a chain on my ankle. So it's important to be able to recognize the stress response and when you're in it, because it's going to be able to help you properly manage it. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, if you found it useful, please leave a 5-star review if you feel so daring. Subscribe or follow to the channel, whatever you're listening to it on. And if you can, I'm going to be running the Philadelphia Marathon in 31 days. Well, actually, it's less than that now. It was 31 on Thursday. So now it's 29 days until I run the Philadelphia Marathon. But anyways, if you could donate to my fundraiser, we're over $1,100, and it's amazing. It's incredible. So if you've been a part of this journey, thank you guys so much. If you can't donate anything, don't worry about it. Just help me spread this message of mental health awareness. All right. I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week. Next week, I'm going to be talking about breaking the silence on men's struggles, because it's almost Movember, guys. Yes, Movember, a month where we grow out our mustaches all November to raise awareness for men's health issues. And men's suicide is among those issues, which is something I'm very, very passionate about talking about, because I think it's important to continue those sort of discussions to decrease the stigma and keep more men here on this earth. So, as always, if you'd like to stay up to date with Down Bad, you can follow Down Bad, a podcast, on Instagram. My personal Instagram and YouTube is Jodi MF Johnson, and in my Instagram bio is my link tree where you can find all my links to everything, including the donation link to me running the Philadelphia Marathon. But as always, thank you guys for being here. Au revoir, belles personnes.